Hi there, this is Jean Roman, and you are visiting for Dragonflies and Me. So, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to watch another episode here of my Gardening 101 series. Excuse me, my allergies are just been kicking it. But so I do have a cup of tea. Hello, moonshines. I might be taking a few sips of that throughout this episode. But if this is your first time here, generally what I do at my gardening videos is create a beautiful PowerPoint filled with pictures and detailed descriptions. And what that allows is for you to be able to go back in the video and take any notes that you want. And then, of course, I talk and I interject on different things, but I want to have like more of a, what I would blog. In the PowerPoint. So basically I'm taking my blog and putting it into a PowerPoint, reading it, and then talking on what I have written. So generally, like I said, I create a beautiful PowerPoint and I share that with you. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, friends. But I'm going to share that with you. So let's get right into this. But if this is your first time here, I would love for you to smash the subscribe button and like button. YouTube requires a certain amount of followers so that my content can get out there. And if you find it valuable, I'd love for you to do that so that other people can get the content and I can help people learn how to garden and find that passion in them. I also do cooking videos, which you guys will often see as well. So I create daily content here. I try to anyway. And I love being here talking to you guys. Love your feedback. So be sure to also leave a comment in your section on gardening or cooking, whatever we're talking about. But let's share now. I'm going to share my screen. Share, and then I'm going to make that a slideshow. Presto Magico, there we go. So hello and welcome to For Dragonflies and Me, tips and tricks for the garden and home. So this is my my YouTube channel. I do have a podcast as well as a blog, Facebook, social media, Instagram, Pinterest. So I love for you to visit me at all of those. But today's topic is Gardening 101, Elevate Your Gardening Game with Vertical Gardening, a beginner's guide. So if you actually watched my recent video on trellising, why you should trellis tomatoes, plants, your tomato plants in is a must, and the 5 tips for success. I talk a little bit about that there. So I'm going to go into a little bit more detail today, and I'm going to elaborate on the benefits and show you how to vertical garden, similar to the tomatoes, but how to grow other things. So vertical gardening is basically a technique that simply involves growing plants vertically upwards, taking advantage of unused vertical space while creating a stunning visual display. Not only does it allow you to maximize your garden space, but it also has numerous benefits, including easier maintenance, better air circulation, and less pest and disease problems. So if you're new to vertical gardening or any type of gardening and don't know where to start, don't worry. This is a beginner's guide and I've got you covered. So let me take you through the basics from choosing the right plants and materials to setting up your vertical garden and caring for your plants. So get ready to get elevated to elevate your garden and create a stunning, space-saving garden that is sure to impress. So, well, of course, let's talk about the benefits first. And there are multiple benefits. So, the first, of course, is the ability to maximize your garden space. By growing plants vertically upwards, you can use unused space on walls, fences, and other structures to create a stunning display of plants. And another benefit of vertical gardening is easier maintenance. So, by growing your plants off the ground, you can reduce the amount of bending and reaching required to care for your plants. And my almost 54-year-old back is loving this. So this can be especially beneficial for those with physical limitations or mobility issues as well. I know I did talk a little bit even during raised bed gardening, even elevated raised beds. I mean, that is another way to elevate your gardening, and incorporating raised beds. So one thing I wanted to mention here too is maximizing your garden space with vertical gardening. So if you guys have been watching me on my social media, you know that I used that bamboo privacy wall, took it apart and created some trellises. And I also created a trellis wall on the in the back of my raised bed garden along the privacy fence. Although I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to keep it there. What I did was I put re-rod in the ground and then put the bamboo posts on them to give it stability. But I'm noticing that that wall really does not get much, if any, sun, um, not to grow appropriately or get maximum growth. So I'm actually thinking I'm going to move that fence and push it to the other end of the garden and see what I can do there. And then I think I'm going to buy some like kind of like tubs or like smaller, like 1 foot raised beds and put them under there and maybe grow some grapes or something. Um, Honestly, I'm going to be here for 6 years. And so I know I've invested a lot in the new patio and the raised bed garden, but 6 years is a lot for me to have a happy space, especially with a garden. So the person that gets a house after me, if they're a gardener, they're going to be thrilled. So let's talk about a couple more benefits. And there's one of my bamboo trellises that I'm growing tomatoes up. So vertical gardening also provides better air circulation for your plants. So when your plants are grown in traditional garden beds, they become overcrowded and lack proper air circulation because a lot of times they're just laying down, right? And this can lead to increased risk and pests and disease. Vertical gardening allows for better airflow around your plants, reducing the risk of these issues. So if you recall, this was one of the photos I used in my trellising tomatoes. And if you look, on the right side of the photograph, you can see the ground level where the grass clippings are for my mulch, and then that bottom bamboo pole. So I'm going to remove all the tomato leaves from that. So it's going to completely open it up. And that is one way that I am going to increase airflow as well. And then also utilize that space underneath for succession planting and planting other crops. So additionally, vertical gardening can be a great solution for those with limited garden space. So whether you have a small backyard, live in a condo or an apartment with limited outdoor space, vertical gardening can help maximize your available space and create a beautiful garden. So even if you live in an apartment and you have a balcony with a railing, you can grow up that railing, grow some pots, and you can grow it to grow on the railing or grow off of like in grow pots. So lots of options, friends. I always say the options are only limited to your imagination. And I do realize there's some limitations to budget as well. But boy, there's all these Habitat for Humanity resale shops. You would not believe the stuff that you can go in there. And what I would suggest is go on Pinterest and look up, vertical gardening, create your own board, and then go with that to a resale shop, garage sales, flea markets. Flea markets can kind of get a little expensive. So, like the one that I went to with you guys when I showed you those wash tubs that I bought. Okay, you can go to Tractor Supply, and no affiliate marketing here, but Tractor Supply or any store like that, and buy a wash tub for like 35, $40. Okay, so when I'm going to a flea market and you see vendors, or when you guys go to, because I'm getting ready to go to the Midland one in a couple weekends, and some of these vendors, it actually, quite frankly, makes me a little frustrated because they're putting like 75. I saw one for $125, and I look, I didn't say anything, I swear, but I looked at that person. I thought, really, really, just gouging people. And I had a budget in my mind because I knew I could find them for under $20. And you know what, friends? I got three, and they were all $15 each. So look around. Don't buy the first thing you see, unless it's something that is so uncommon. But believe me when I tell you that galvanized metal wash tubs, buckets, egg baskets, anything like that, old water bath canners, the two, although I love those. Let me just guarantee you, those are a dime a dozen, and you will find a vendor who is not looking to gouge somebody and just like want somebody else to appreciate that and just trying to make a living. So that was my rant for this. And I usually do that, but oh well, there it is. So, but I guess I just feel like I want you guys to get a good benefit too. Like, I am now an Amazon influencer, and I am coming out with a review for my raised beds. And I really do love these raised beds. I've ordered 3 more. They are from a different company. I'm going to do a review on those as well. But these raised beds now, if you use my affiliate link in that, they're $119 each for a 4x8 by 2 foot deep bed. Okay, friends, that is so reasonable. So, um, that's not what we're talking about today, but I just want you guys to be really aware when you do try to purchase things and you're looking for unique opportunities or unique items. shop around. One thing I am is patient with that kind of stuff because I know I will find it at reasonable costs. But let's talk about types of vertical gardening now. And there's all different types of systems. I'm going to go into about four of them and maybe elaborate a little bit. But as you can see here in the top picture, that's actually a hog panel. And I have used hog panel primarily for grape arbors because they have big holes and you can get your hands in them, and they're very sturdy and they're going to support the weight of a grape vine. So this is a picture I got online, but they are actually using hog panels for growing their tomatoes up. So I'm just going to say right now that is expensive. And if you are going to invest that kind of money in 4x4 posts and hog panel, I would be growing something different than tomatoes up there. That is more for like a perennial crop. Like if you live where you can grow kiwis, or any other vining fruit like grapes. That's a great way to hold grapes, because grapes do get heavy. They get almost like a tree trunk. So, and then here in this middle pictures, there's vertical gardening, just using that's an old palette. So I should have actually used that picture and when I talk about that, but that is a great way. I think those are super cute, and I'm actually thinking about incorporating some of those in my garden, but I want to paint them. And I'm about to sneeze. So, friends, these allergies. We are in Michigan, and I'm telling you, it has been one thing after the other. But okay, I feel like going away. But the third picture is a beautiful. I mean, that's probably wisteria or something growing up there, and that's like a beautiful gazebo or trellis there. But let's look at a few types of vertical gardening. So trellises, obviously we've been talking about that. And trellises are just a simple and effective way to support climbing plants such as tomatoes, cucumbers, peas, squash, zucchini, pumpkins, anything like that. And they can be made from a variety of materials, including wood, metal, and even PVC. I've seen a lot of people utilize PVC in a really cool, creative way. Today is a bad one. I might have to take a little stronger allergy pill. But trellises can be attached to walls or fences or freestanding in the garden. So in my gardens, you guys have seen the bamboo trellises that are directly in my raised beds. You also see where I created the trellis wall in the back that I'm going to move. But it's up to the limitations are your creativity. But then there's also actual vertical gardens that you can Google and then find and purchase. I have never utilized these. It's just an option that I wanted to share with you. So vertical gardens are a great way to grow plants in a small space, and these systems can be made from a variety of materials, including felt, fabric, or plastic. They typically hang on a wall and allow you to grow a variety of plants in a small space. So I'm going to give you an example of this. You guys know when you can buy those plastic shoe holders, or a lot of people use them as organizers behind a door. You can use them in a pantry for putting different packages in them. A lot of people use them in the back of kids' closets to put like stuffed animals and other toys. Well, guess what? You can use those for growing plants too. And the only thing that it's a must have, if they are plastic, you need to make sure you put proper drainage holes. But you can put that on a wall, a privacy fence, and you can grow lettuces in there, types of greens, smaller things, herbs or whatnot. So again, where is your imagination going to take you? Again, here's I showed you the picture in the first talking about the types of pallet gardens. So pallet gardens are a popular choice for those who want to create a rustic do-it-yourself look in their garden. And they're made by attaching a pallet to a wall or a fence and filling the spaces between the slats with soil and plants. Pallet gardens can be a great way to grow herbs, lettuces, and other small plants. I am really seriously thinking about trying this, and I want to try to like grow lettuces and maybe some herbs in them. I think it'll be a really cool addition into my raised bed garden. Again, I'm going to paint it probably aqua blue, like some of my stuff. Dave and I just went and did some garage sailing, and I found a little, like a kind of like a little island on wheels. I'm going to paint it aqua blue. I'm going to show you guys later in a reel, but super excited for that. And but what I'm going to do, and I'm actually going to do a Amazon review on this too, is in my raised bed gardens and my patio. If you follow me on social media, you would have saw the whole process. We laid down a black plastic, and you have used that product for 20 plus years back on the farm. That's what we laid down to put my raised beds on, and that is what is under my pea stone here. And it is an incredible product. I do not recommend using the standard fabric that you can buy in the little rolls where it's plastic and um, uh, felt like on the bottom. They rip. And they do not work as effectively as the ground cover. So keep posted for a review on that as well. And you can buy it in, 2-foot sections up to 8-foot sections. So it is an incredible material that I highly recommend. So I'm going to be keeping you posted on the pallet garden. So tower gardens, I have stakes here. That's not a tower garden. That is another way to trellis, which I showed you guys in my vertical grow in my tomatoes, but I'm going to talk on that after I talk about tower gardens. So I don't know if you guys have seen on Instagram, I've seen it a lot where they are white plastic PVC tubing, and they are long, they have a base, and he is a market grower. I can tell you that 100% for sure, because the amount of produce that he's growing in one of those. So one of those things, I think it said it could grow up to like 40 heads of lettuce. But now take into consideration, those are all at the same time, and they're growing them hydroponically, which I'm not a fan of. But I want to give you guys all the options. I'm an organic grower. I think you can do some hydroponics more naturally, and I would love information on that. So if you're listening to this and you have grown hydroponically, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. And like I said, I have not done any research on this. I'm not even professing to know much about it. Again, I am only simply giving you guys information if you're interested in it, because like I said, whether or not you grow organically, I'm not trying to convince you to do something to grow a specific way. What I'm trying to convince you of is to grow, because believe me, gardening and growing your own food is the best feeling in the world. But tower gardens are a newer system of vertical gardening that again uses hydroponics to grow plants. And these systems can be, again, another negative in my opinion, very expensive, but they allow you to grow a large number of plants in a small space without any soil, which is hydroponics. So tower gardens are a great choice for those who want to grow their own fresh produce year round. And you can even use these in your basement with grow lights. So there are some obviously benefits to it. There's benefits to anything, but I do want to talk to you about the photographed stakes. I didn't put this in the PowerPoint, but these are 2x2 wooden stakes. And what you do with these is you use a post hole pounder is the best option. So you don't ruin them because you don't want to use a sledgehammer or whatever, but a post hole pounder, say that 10 times, and you get a free cookbook, record it and send it to me with no trip ups. Is a large metal tube with 2 handles, and you go boom, boom, boom on the post. And you usually have to stand on a ladder because these need to be like 8 to 12 feet tall. But you pound them into the ground, preferably minimum 2 feet. 3 feet is best, but 2 feet you can get away with it if you're not growing, like trying to grow anything crazy heavy on it. But then what you do is once it's in the ground, you put a screw in the top, and then you take baler twine or any other type of garden twine. You don't want to do fabric here because fabric rots, so you want to use a type of twine that's not going to rot. And then you can go 4 strings down or 6 strings down, and then you use a ground staple, which I'm also going to be talking about as a product review, because again, that's what I use in my gardens. And you use those or other stakes to put into to tie the twine to and get it to stay in the ground so it's not flopping, obviously. And it looks like almost like a teepee, a Christmas tree, a pine tree. And then what you do is you plant your seed or your seedling at the bottom of those. I used to grow my flat Roma beans up those, and they were actually really cool and beautiful. And I love them. I actually used them as a backdrop in one of my gardens where the hog pens were on my farm. And so that wasn't always so pretty. So I did a backdrop of those teepees and then had my rows of plants in the front. But I loved it, and I love growing up them. You can also use an old ladder if you want to use something like kind of cutesy and add like a really, an eclectic element. I love shabby chic, and I've done this as well where I found an old ladder. I put it in a cute corner, and you can grow herbs in little terracotta pots on the steps. Super cute, and incorporate some flowers. So I actually have a blog on that, on how to incorporate eclectic items into your garden. So fun blog. But choosing the right plants for vertical gardening now, right, friends? So what can you grow up them? What can you grow vertically? And there really is a lot that you can do when you think about the options that I just gave you. So using a pallet for smaller crops, lettuces, spinach, but we're going to talk about some of these things. But here you can see this is my round Denise zucchini squash in the center. There's some tomatoes on either end. So let's talk about choosing the right plants and what requirements they need and the ones that are best suited for vertical gardening. So this picture is actually that white ladder type thing is actually the side of a crib. And this was on my farm in my potager, on my kitchen garden. And I found that in the barn. And I was like, oh, I can use this because I liked that look. You don't have to use that stuff. You can buy pretty metal things if you have a budget for that. But if you like to that shabby chic look, you're probably already a creative person anyway, so you're going to find things like this. But let's talk about what we can grow. So up on this, I was growing my lemon cucumbers, which is an heirloom, which you guys have seen. So climbing plants, obviously, such as tomatoes, cucumbers, zucchini, beans are ideal for trellises and other vertical gardening systems. And these plants naturally want to grow upward and can be trained to grow up pretty much any structure. So vines such as grapes, kiwis, passion fruit are also well suited for vertical gardening. These plants can be trained to grow up a trellis or other structure and can produce a large amount of fruit in a small space. So like I was talking to you, like hog panel, this is where you would want to have a more solid, sturdy system because those are heavy. And you're not going to be removing this every year. You're not taking it down like my bamboo trellises, where I'm going to take those and put them away. For a grape arbor, it's permanent because they are a perennial. So think about perennial versus annual. So your tomatoes and your squash and all your vegetables in your garden like that, they're annuals. You plant them, they die, you plant them again next year. Where with your perennials like grapes, you're wanting a system, a structure that is going to be permanent there, like the grapes, and to preferably outlive the plant. But other things that are great are herbs such as basil, thyme, and parsley. Again, annuals. Thyme is actually a perennial, but parsley is a biannual. But these are great choices for vertical gardens, like growing in like in pots on a ladder, like I said, or in a pallet. They don't require a lot of space and can be grown in small pots or containers or pallets. So lettuces are another great choice for any green. So spinach, chard, kale, they get a little bit bigger, but you can incorporate them for vertical gardens. They can be grown in smaller pots or even containers and are perfect for those who want to grow their own salad greens. So even like a salad bowl, if you don't have, if you're living in an apartment or condo, I showed you guys a little while back on how to incorporate and make cut and come again salad bowls. Take another sip of my tea here, friends. All right, so, and definitely, I mean, again, you can grow things. I mean, obviously, you're not going to grow a tomato up, something like this. It's not going to be sturdy enough, but there are many, many things that you can be creative with. So there's my bamboo. So how do you build one? Where do you start? And it's super easy. This is a fun do-it-yourself project, and there's a few simple steps, and you guys can copy these down. So first, obviously, you got to choose your materials, right? And you want to use. So again, you can use wood, metal, PVC, or even a fabric. And like I said, like the shoe holder thing. So here you can see I used bamboo poles, and this was actually a privacy fence. And if you guys have been following me, you can actually see in this picture too, the bamboo wall behind there, and then some extra posts that I have that I'm going to do some teepees in my new raised beds. Watch for that video. And then building your structure. So building your structure according to design you have chosen. What are you looking to do? Are you looking to make like a teepee type structure like this, or like a or like using the stake and using the twine to go down? So, building your structure, make sure it's sturdy. Like when I was talking about a grape arbor, your grape arbor needs to be 4x4 posts, cemented into the ground with metal, a hog panel. And because those grapes are going to get big and heavy, and they're going to grow for years. So this is something, my bamboo trellis here is removable. It's going to go in and out each year as I grow my tomatoes or whatever else I'm growing up them. So these want to be stored properly throughout the winter months. And then you also want to take into consideration, what are you growing? How heavy is it? So by maintaining and managing all of those aspects, you're going to have great success. And then thinking about your soil and the plants. So adding soil to your vertical garden and plants, which ones you choose. So make sure to follow the planting instructions, of course, for each plant and provide them with the right amount of water and nutrients. One thing I want to step back and mention about the pallet garden is, and I started talking about it with the woven black ground cover that I use. I'm actually going to take that and install that inside so the dirt doesn't fall out. And again, that allows for proper drainage. So I'm excited to show you guys that process. And so keep posted for that. But maintaining your vertical garden. So this is also an important element when you think about rain. Rain, when it goes into the garden, it saturates the ground. Unless the rain is so windy, the weather's so windy, it's blowing it. Your plants growing vertically, especially like in a pallet or a wall situation or towers, you have to make sure they're getting water. So watering them regularly, checking that you're not overwatering, and any hot weather, making sure that the watering is sufficient for the plant you're using, because everything does require different types of watering, especially tomatoes. You don't want to overwater. So you can even install like some type of irrigation system. I've actually seen people on YouTube and social media where they've taken PVC piping and made like a hoop over top and then put another one across the top and then drilled holes in it and attached a hose into it, tied it with a zip tie, and then the water just sprinkled out. I was like, that's pretty genius. I was like, that's pretty clever. So, again, your imagination, right? And fertilizing your plants. As you all know, I'm going to also be doing a review on this for Alaska fertilizer as well as Neptune's Harvest fertilizer. They're both fish emulsion, and I have literally used them for years. When I had my farm, I used to buy 50-gallon drums of it. So I live by this stuff, and so it is an incredible fertilizer. But whatever you're growing, whether it's flowers or veggies and fruits and herbs, think about the nutrient needs of those plants, and then pruning, obviously. Especially tomatoes, when you're trellising up, you're looking more to create a main stem with leaves. So you want to take off those suckers, and that I talked a lot about in my trellising tomatoes video. And I'm also going to do a short video how to in my gardens in an upcoming reel. So, pruning your plants, making sure that there is proper airflow and that you can get to the fruits. And this is going to really help with your production, and also removing any diseased or dead damaged leaves that you want to remove those so they don't entice the bad bugs to come. So let's talk about a few creative ideas, right? We did already, I mentioned the ladder, but vertical gardening doesn't have to be boring. And so I wanted to definitely include some creative ideas for you. So you can use unique containers such as old boots, teapots, or colanders to add fun and a quirky touch to your vertical garden. Like I said, I really like a shabby chic look. And so incorporating those type of elements are fun. You can also create a living wall by covering a wall with plants. And this can be done by using a variety of systems, including felt or fabric pockets, like what I was talking about. Add a water feature. So like to your garden, such as a fountain or a little pond. Those are always really pretty, and they attract your birds and give your little feathered friends a little drink. And then I'm actually going to be showing you guys how to make a bee bath. I just saw it and I was like, oh, that's so cute. And it's so easy. So I'm going to do a quick video on that as well. But this can, water obviously adds a calming feature to your garden and is definitely adds some relaxation. So if you don't have an outdoor space, you can even grow a vertical garden indoors by using the hydroponic tower system, like what I was mentioning. I just need some grow lights, a basement, or just a spot in a corner in your kitchen, and you can be having fresh veggies and herbs. So can be a great way to grow year round as well. So what do you do? Do you have any unique or interesting elements in your garden, whether it's vertical or raised beds or just a regular garden. I have my garden bike and I have a table and a chairs in my garden, and I like to add that stuff. I want my garden to be a creative expression of who I am and what I love. And the one thing I can tell you guys is be sure to create a space for you and, or if your family, whatever. But, it's got to be about you because this is your space and it's your Zen space, and you want to be happy in it, and it is a lot of work, so you want to be happy in it, but it's fun work. But let's now, got to talk about the troubleshooting stuff too. So there are a few troubleshooting things that you want to definitely take into consideration for vertical gardening. And like, despite all of our best efforts, we are definitely going to encounter some issues when growing plants vertically. It's just par for the course. So here are a few of those that you can help to eliminate to a certain degree. So pests such as aphids and spider mites can be a problem in vertical gardens. So use an organic pest control method such as neem oil or insecticidal soaks to control these pests. And I have a bunch of blogs on how to incorporate natural herbicides and fungicides and whatnot. And so you can always Google that at my blog for Dragonflies and Me. Disease can also be a problem in vertical gardens, especially if plants are overcrowded. So making sure to provide air circulation and remove any diseased plants or, problem leaves, be sure to get rid of them, and then don't put those in your compost. Put them in a trash bag and throw them away. Or if you have a burn pit, burn them. Be careful with any type of fire, not telling you to light the neighborhood on fire. Also, watering can also be a challenge in vertical gardening, which I just recently talked about. So using an irrigation system to ensure your plants receive the right amount of water, but even the overhead watering systems can be beneficial for that as well. Isn't that pretty? That reminds me of my arbor that I had at my farm, where I had sweet autumn clematis growing up on one side and then climbing roses on the other, and it was just so beautiful. That was oh, it was so beautiful there. But anyways, vertical gardening is a great way to maximize your garden space and create a stunning visual display. So whether you choose to build your own system or purchase one, there are many options available to suit your needs and preferences and budgets. So by choosing the right plants and materials, preparing your space properly, and maintaining your garden regularly, you will create a beautiful and productive vertical garden that is sure to impress and make you happy. So, if you found value in this episode, I again ask you sincerely to please smash that subscribe button, smash the like button, and comment. Let me know your thoughts. I want to hear about different ways that you have utilized vertical gardening, or different little techniques that you've used. Or what do you like? Have you put an old pair of rain boots, maybe your little kids, in there as a reminder, and planted some flowers in them? Super cute. But to see more episodes like this one, obviously subscribe here at my YouTube channel, and obviously definitely go over to my blog at fordragonfliesandme.com and subscribe there as well so you don't miss a beat, because I do daily stuff. Well, it is always my goal, like I said earlier, to encourage you to grow your own food. And, don't be dismayed if you don't have a yard or to garden in, or, some super big space. Even container gardening, it's a great alternative, and it's at least better than nothing. So again, if you enjoyed this episode, smash the like button, subscribe, leave me a comment, and be sure to check me out at my Facebook and Instagram page, because I have super cool stuff going on there every day, generally showing you where I'm at, what I'm doing, what I'm growing, what farmers market I'm at, or where I've been. So love to see you all there. So again, more time, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. But thank you so much for joining me here today. And if you enjoyed this class, be sure to visit me at all my platforms. But I'm going to stop sharing now. And I'm going to tell you all, thank you again for being here. I really do appreciate your support. And I'm sincerely trying to grow my following here at YouTube, as well as all my other platforms. So if you would be so kind as to subscribe and like and comment, that just means the world to me. And I always try to respond back. And I really do value your feedback. So, like I always say when we wrap it up, friends, be sure to eat fresh, shop local, and have a happy day. And I will see you later in the garden and the kitchen. Bye now, friends.